Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Sorry I've been a little bit MIA. It's been kind of a busy, stressful week or so, but now I'm just kind of back at home chilling for the most part. I still have some stressful things coming up. Tonight I will be submitting my final list, my ranking list of which residency programs I want to go to. They ask everybody to send in a list in order of their preference, and I've been working on that for months. So hitting submit tonight, and then in 2 weeks I find out where I'm going. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. I can talk about that in more detail if that's something you guys are interested in hearing about. Maybe after match day would be a good time. So if you're curious about kind of how the whole residency match process goes, let me know and I definitely talk about it in more detail. But today we're talking about makeup. So I did a video ages and ages ago about my favorite product from 10 different drugstore brands. And then recently I made a follow-up video that was 10 more drugstore brands, my favorite product from each of those. But I've been feeling a little bit bougie. I feel like I've been wanting to pull for my fancy products lately. So I decided that today I wanted to talk about my favorite product from 10 of my favorite high-end brands. So if I'm not mistaken, these are all available at Sephora. No, they're almost all available at Sephora. There's one brand that's not available at Sephora, but it is available at Ulta. So they're all available at either Sephora or Ulta. Anyway, without any further rambling, let's get into my favorite product from 10 of my favorite high-end brands. So let's start with the most viral brand right now, which is Charlotte Tilbury. So Charlotte Tilbury has kind of been everywhere lately. She has a lot of products that have gone super viral, and I've tried some of them. I don't want to say I've tried most of her products because she has a pretty extensive line, but I've tried something from most categories, and I've really enjoyed her makeup. I think it's really well done. I think it's very high quality. But my favorite product I've tried from her, I feel like this is an unpopular opinion these days because everyone says, oh, you know, there are a zillion dupes of this. And I think that there are a zillion attempted dupes of this, but I don't think anyone's ever actually successfully duped Hollywood Flawless Filter. I just don't think it's been done. The e.l.f. one is good, but it's not quite the same. The Maybelline one was fine and ended up kind of getting all gross and separated and oily, so I ended up throwing that one away. There are a lot of glowy products that go well under foundation, and I'm sure you can find one that you love that is much less expensive than this. The e.l.f. one's great. I will give e.l.f. their credit where credit is due. It's a great product. But this one is just different. It's different from the e.l.f. one. The e.l.f. one, I think, has more coverage. So if you're looking to use it as an all-over base product kind of by itself, that one might be a better option. The Charlotte Tilbury one is much shinier than the e.l.f. one in my opinion. So if you're trying to use it by itself, again, I think that the Charlotte Tilbury one would not be the best option for you. But I use both of those products as primers, glowy makeup to mix in with foundation or put on under foundation. And so for that purpose, I like that the Charlotte Tilbury one is shinier. I swatched it on the back of my hand and you can kind of see where it is. It just gives the most beautiful light reflecting property to your makeup. I think it's stunning. I really just think it does something special. I feel like it reflects light in a way that kind of makes your skin look more perfected. And I just don't think the e.l.f. one quite captures that. Now the e.l.f. one is $14 and this one's like $50. So to be fair, the price difference definitely justifies one being higher quality than the other. But out of everything I've tried from Charlotte Tilbury, this is the one that I'm literally constantly pulling out and using all the time. I bought it as a mini originally and I went back and bought the full size because I loved it so much. So if you are a glowy makeup girly like me, it might end up being worth your investment, to be honest. If you're not super into the glowy makeup look, please do not bother. If you want to just try the look and you're not quite sure how you feel about it, try it with the e.l.f. first, by all means. But if you know you love that kind of thing, it really is that good. While I'm on the subject of beautiful, light reflecty, glowy base products that just make your skin look perfect and juicy and dewy, let's talk about my favorite product from NARS. If you've literally ever seen one of my videos in the last year, this probably won't shock you. Oh look, it's the light reflecting foundation again. Will I ever shut up about this foundation? Not until I try a better one. and I haven't probably ever. This foundation is so good. And, you know, of course it better be because it's, again, like $50. But holy crap, I love this stuff. This is so good. If you are like a dewy, glowy makeup kind of girl, but you're looking for something that will give you that life and plumpness to your face, give crazy coverage, and last through anything, through a freaking hurricane, this is that girl. I've been singing her praises on this channel for what feels like an eternity, so I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, but truly, this is the best thing I've ever tried from NARS, and I have tried mostly complexion products from them, but some cheek and lip products. Nothing beats this. This is the best thing I've ever tried from NARS by a wide mile, and really, it's my favorite foundation. I have never found something that performs the way that this does. It's super, super thin, serum-like texture, so it never emphasizes my pores or anything on my face. It takes a little bit to get crazy coverage, and it's just the most beautiful finish. Exactly what I'm looking for in a foundation, all rolled up into one. So truly just like, chef's kiss, love it so much. The best thing NARS ever did, ever. And I live by that. I guess the theme of these first three is going to be glowy base products, so let's talk about MAC. I love MAC's lipsticks, I really do. I have quite a collection of them. I don't think they're really worth full price, which is why I'm not putting them here. I've tried a couple of other really great products from MAC. I've tried their blushes that are really nice. I have a highlighter that's great. Lots of different things from MAC I've tried that I think are really high quality. But lately, the thing that I just keep reaching for over and over again is the Studio Radiance Face and Body Foundation. This stuff's just really good. I picked this up on a whim at a random TJ Maxx one day because it was on sale for like $10 or $12, and I thought, why not? I'll bite. This stuff is so good. It's got a decent amount of coverage. It says it's sheer on here, and I feel like you could have it be sheer if you wanted it to be. But the interesting thing about this, I feel like, is kind of the more that you blend it, the more coverage it has. Like, I can get this up to a solid medium if I keep blending it and blending it and blending it. And the trick that I heard about this is actually from a channel called Amanda Z. If you don't follow her, you should. She's great. But she talked about this, and she said that if you rub it in with your fingers, you can actually feel it start to get a little bit tacky, and that's when you know you've reached the point of like more coverage. And so I've tried that, and it worked amazing. So if you put it on just kind of as is, you'll get a pretty sheer layer, pretty watery and thin. But if you keep kind of working it in and kind of activating it, it will thicken up and get a little bit more tacky and have more coverage. So I love the versatility. I love the finish. I feel like it blurs over the skin so beautifully, and it has a little bit of a glow to it that is just the right amount. It's not like you're glowing like a disco ball, but you just have that lit from within kind of dewy glowiness. Ugh, I love this stuff. I keep pulling for it over and over again. I feel like this and that NARS foundation have been the foundations I have been alternating between for like every day, and then glam constantly. So I don't know where they're selling this anymore because I'm pretty sure there's only like 7 shades left on Ulta. Not sure about the MAC website. They might still have it, but wherever, honestly. I'm scared to run out of it because I'm like, what if I can't get more? But it is so good. Current favorite from MAC, though, I would say. I'm not excluding the possibility that I could get back into a phase with like my Glow Play blushes or something like that, but right now, this is on top. Let's talk Rare Beauty. Rare Beauty is one of my favorite brands at Sephora lately. They have been absolutely killing it, and they are my favorite in so many categories in my collection. My favorite cream blushes are Rare Beauty. My favorite cream bronzer is the Rare Beauty stick. One of my top like 3 powder highlighters right now is the Rare Beauty highlighter. I feel like I have so many things from Rare Beauty that are just like cream of the crop, top of my list. So good. So this was a really hard category to pick. But when I really sat and thought about it, and I thought, out of all of your Rare Beauty products, which one could you not live without in your collection? It's their mascara. This is just the most ridiculously good mascara. I am kind of a skeptic of high-end mascaras. I've tried a fair few, and I don't think most of them are worth it. I think for the most part, you can get drugstore mascaras that perform just as well, if not better, than most high-end mascaras. I have 2 exceptions. The Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions is the best tubing mascara, hands down. and this one is just a damn good mascara. I buy the minis, they last me a really long time, and they're $11. So really, in my mind, that's basically drugstore price. I just love this stuff. The thing about this is that it makes my life easy. My biggest pet peeve with mascara is when I have to get all finicky and get in there and start separating my eyelashes because it gets all clumped up, or I have to do 17 coats because it's just not giving me enough drama. This stuff, never. On the everyday, 1 coat, perfect. For glam look, 2 coats, you're done. I don't have to mess with it. I don't have to go in there and start trying to pick my eyelashes apart with a tweezer or a lash comb, nothing. It gives me effortlessly perfect eyelashes every time. It's what I have on right now, and I just feel like every time I never even have to try, and I get exactly what I want out of my lashes. It's amazing. It is the rare beauty product that I could not live without in my collection, and if you haven't tried it yet, it's $11. It's basically the same as trying a drugstore mascara. I really think you won't be disappointed. All right, next, let's go ahead and talk about my girls. There's 2 of my girls that you probably are shocked you haven't heard about yet, but let's talk about them. It's predictable, but I will sing their praises any chance I get. First things first, Natasha Denona. I have tried products from Natasha Denona other than the eyeshadow palettes, believe it or not. But the eyeshadow palettes are the best. Let's be very clear about that. The midi palettes specifically, the 15 pan palettes that have the smaller pans than the $129 palettes. Those pans are like really big. These are a little bit smaller. This is my newest one. We'll just look at her as an example. This format of Natasha Denona palette, it's the best. This is the I Need a Nude palette, by the way. I'll show you all the ones that I have, but I'm not going to cop out of this question by saying, oh, just all of the eyeshadow palettes. I actually do have a #1 favorite. This is the Zendo palette. I'm going to show you the favorite last, so I'm just showing you the rest right now. This is very pretty, though. This is the Retro Glam palette, which is absolutely gorgeous and so unique. I really don't have any other color story like that in my collection. This is very close to being my favorite of her midi palettes. This is the Bronze palette. Very much up my alley as a warm tone neutral girly since like 2016 when warm tone neutrals were all the rage. I've never let them go, so I love my Bronze palette. However, my favorite of her midi palettes, as phenomenal as all of them are, is the Retro palette. This palette just achieved something that I don't think any of the other ones achieved. #1, color story. Absolutely beautiful. Goes from these really, really soft, mauvey baby pinks all the way to these rich, deep burgundies. You get such a range. But you also get like the mauvier tones that lean a little more neutral and like true pinks and burgundies and things that are a little bit more colorful. So again, you get a lot of variety in that respect. But you also get all of her formulas. You get her traditional powder mattes, the cream to powder matte, you get the glitter toppers, the true metallics. You really get all of Natasha Denona in this one little palette. Now, I am aware that it's a pricey palette. I think they're up to $70 now, and I understand that that's a lot of money. However, really, truly, if you're not a crazy person like me who collects eyeshadow palettes, this is like the only pink mauve palette you'll ever need, you know? And at that point, it's like, it's a super high quality palette with lots of different formulas and tones. So you can decide if you think it's worth it. I'm super happy that I have it, and this is by far my favorite Natasha Denona product that I've ever owned. And so, of course, now we have to talk about my other girlfriend, Miss Pat McGrath. I've tried a fair amount of things from Pat, actually. I've tried the mascara, I've had like a sample of the foundation, I have the concealer, the powder, the blush, highlighter. I've tried a good amount of stuff, is the point. Nothing compares to the Mothership eyeshadow palettes. And I do mean these specifically because I've also tried a quad, a 5-pan, and those larger ones that she put out for holiday. None of them are as good as these. Now, that being said, if you wanted to try Pat McGrath eyeshadow on like a smaller scale before you committed to a $130 10-pan, that's very understandable, and I don't think you'd be disappointed. But truly, the quality of the Motherships is unlike anything else. Again, I'm going to show you all of them, but I do have a favorite. If you've been around this channel before, you probably know what it is. All right, so this beauty is Divine Rose 2. Let me see. You can see that pink to green flip on that multi-chrome. Very freaking cool. I love that. Then we have the original Divine Rose, which is much more approachable for my neutral loving girlies out there. That glittery shade is insane. Absolutely crazy. I apologize for the way that these shades make the autofocus on my camera behave. We're going to get through it together. This is my most recent one, which is Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction. That blue-red duochrome at the top is pretty much my reason for living. I don't think I've ever pulled out this palette and not used that blue-red duochrome at the top. Yeah. Look, I got this one as a gift, and it was fully purchased for me because I would not shut up about that shade every time I walked into a Sephora, so that's literally the reason I have the palette. But my number one favorite. She always has been, and she always will be, probably, unless Pat really pulls out some stops. This was my first Mothership, the one that caught my eye from the very beginning. Mothership 5, Bronze Seduction. Just look at her. She is so loved by me. As you can see, that duochrome shade down there is very used and abused. I literally never shut up about this. If you want to see these swatched in detail, the special shades, that is, there's really no need to look at all the mattes. The mattes kind of look how they look. But I have a video on my channel swatching all of the special shades in Pat McGrath palettes in different lighting and things like that. So if you're into sparkly, shifty stuff, definitely go check that out. But yes, Mothership 5 is forever and always my baby. This is the best thing I've ever tried from Pat McGrath. It's just excellent. The mattes are beautiful, very easy. I like the color selection. The special shades are infinitely special. There's just something so beautiful to me about how this works as like a super neutral palette. You could use this semi-everyday, neutral glam, colorful. It's all here in this beautiful, curated 10-pan, wonderful, heavy packaging. I could go on. I'm not going to, but Mothership 5 is my everything. I would like evacuate a burning building with this. Like I would grab this before I ran out of a burning building. This is that special. Let me talk about a brand that I think people don't appreciate enough, and the product that I picked is super boring too. Benefit Cosmetics, I think, has had their ups and downs in the beauty space. I think they're kind of on an upswing right now with that blush release from, I think, last year. Could have been the year before, but recent blush release where they like revamped their line, and they've been, I don't know, I think they've been putting out more stuff lately. Anyway, long story boring, I think people have been into Benefit lately, and they've been putting out some new brow products. I've tried a couple of them, and they're good, but nothing beats the OG Precisely My Brow pencil. If I'm not mistaken, this is my most repurchased brow pencil. The shade 3.5 is a really great shade match for my brow hairs, so I really appreciate that. This pencil is just solid. It's just a really great eyebrow pencil. It's just the right amount of stiffness and waxiness, but with the creaminess that you need as well. Mine's drying out a little bit, but that's okay. It's just great. It draws a really thin line. However, I did see on Ulta or Sephora or wherever I saw it that they came out with a nano version of this, and I will be trying that because one thing about me is the thinner the line, the better for me. With eyebrow pencils, I love the like Huda Beauty one that's like so teeny little teeny tiny. That being said, this is a tried and true staple in my collection, and as much as I love several of Benefit's mascaras, I really do like the blush. The Hoola bronzer is a classic. The cookie highlighter is crazy. But I keep coming back to this one, and it's the thing that I'm going to keep repurchasing over and over again in the future as well. Let's talk about Urban Decay. Are people still talking about Urban Decay? I don't actually know. But I've tried a lot of products from them that I really, really like. I've tried the Hydromaniac foundation. I've tried, obviously, several eyeshadow palettes. I've tried mascaras, eyeliners, lipsticks, all that good stuff. But, I mean, the best product from them, and honestly, I don't think this is going to surprise anybody, but my favorite product from them is the Moondust eyeshadow in the shade Space Cowboy. This was kind of a game changer for me. Like, for a long time, I would see people using this online and be like, oh, I don't need that. I have ColourPop Ritz. And then I bought it. And yes, I still love ColourPop Ritz. Let's not get that twisted. ColourPop Ritz is still a gem in my collection. However, This is different. This is different. Look how micro fine those glitters are. I love ColourPop Ritz. I love her for who she is. It's a go-to topper shade for me. But the glitters are much chunkier, and I love chunky glitter sometimes. I can get behind that, but when I want that just like micro glitter, make your eyelids look like they're wet, kind of shiny, this is going to give it to me every time. So yeah, I do get the hype. I do get it. And yeah, it's my favorite product from Urban Decay. I was influenced, and I'm not sad about it. Let's talk about Tower 28. Tower 28 is a brand I've tried a few things from. I've really enjoyed all of them, and honestly, I'm still intrigued every time they come out with a new release. I still have more things from the brand that I really want to try. I feel like they as a brand are really doing things that are kind of on the pulse of what's in right now, and I really, really love everything that I've tried from them so far. That being said, the best thing that I have from them is the lip glosses. Obviously. I'm a huge fan of this formula. It is so nice. I have 2 of like the lip jellies and then 2 of the milky lip glosses. They're slightly different. The formula is very much the same, I would say. The milky ones might be a little bit thicker, but that could also just be me making that up in my head. The formulas are not super different, if at all different. The only difference is kind of the finish. So I have the lip jellies in Chill, which is the clear formula. It looks gross because of lip product that gets in it from me putting the wand on my lips and then back in the tube. So sorry about that, but it is just a super shiny clear lip gloss. Then I have the shade Spicy, which is my newest one because I've been real into red lip glosses lately, and it is shockingly pigmented for being a red lip gloss. I definitely was surprised at how much pigment it had. That is Spicy. And then I have the 2 milky shades, which have a little bit more of a creaminess to them. Again, still the same, like, really smooth, comfortable, almost lip oily formula. Just a little bit of a different finish. So this is the shade Almond. Sorry, I'm trying to get like a representative swatch. This is the shade Almond. It's kind of a true brown shade. And then my favorite shade out of all 4 of them, so yes, I am going to pick a favorite shade. Look at me go. My favorite shade is Pistachio. It is just the perfect nude pink. I feel like I can wear this with every freaking look. I am wearing this constantly. This lives in my purse a lot of the time. It's just such a great shade. Like I was saying, these are ridiculously comfortable lip glosses. They are super smooth, not an ounce of stickiness. I can't stand sticky lip glosses. These have none. I would say that these are very lip oily in feel, but I think they have a little more substance than the average lip oil. I think maybe the clear one is the closest to a lip oil in texture, but especially the milky ones are like definitely just a really smooth, thin gloss. Moisturizing, comfortable, Tower 28's best work. Shade recommendation from me, Pistachio all the way. And finally, last but certainly not least, let's talk about Fenty Beauty. I am a Fenty fanatic, for sure. I have tried quite a few of her products, and it really did take some intense soul searching to figure out which one was my favorite. But then I went into my bathroom and like actually looked at my makeup collection, and I went, oh, it's the lip glosses. It's definitely the lip glosses. I have a problem with these, obviously. That being said, there are a few different formulas here, and I kind of want to talk about the differences. I will say I did pick a favorite shade and a favorite formula, so big for me. But let me just talk about them all briefly. I have one of the cream gloss bombs, which is in the shade Fenty Glow. These are just a little bit thicker than the original, and they have more kind of opaque pigment. So that's what that one looks like. It's very pretty, it's very comfortable, but it is more of that like pigmented gloss, and I know some people aren't super into that. Then I have 2 of the Fenty Heat lip glosses. I have the shade Fussy Heat, which is pretty similar to the original shade Fussy in that it's kind of a cooler mauve pink. But the difference is that this one doesn't have the glitter in it that the original Fussy shade had. And also it has that, I don't even want to call it plumping effect. It doesn't really feel plumping. It just kind of feels warm, but not even in the way of like something spicy. Like to me, it doesn't feel spicy. It literally just kind of feels like somebody took just like the warm part of icy hot. Like it never gets icy. It just gets kind of warm. Does that make any sense to any of you? I don't know how to describe this. I will say if you're interested in trying the heat formula, try it on in Sephora before you buy one, because I know that some people try it and they hate it. I tried it in the store and I was like, it's not that striking to me. So just, give it a shot before you make that decision. This one is Hot Cherry. This was my gateway drug into red lip glosses, and that is it right there. So you can see it's definitely sheerer than the cream formula. I would say in terms of feel on the lips, these are pretty much identical to the original formula, just with that kind of warm sensation. Doesn't bother me, but if you're sensitive to that, just be aware. My favorite of the formulas, though, is definitely the original Gloss Bomb formula. I think that this was just an absolute knock it out of the park, phenomenal launch from the very beginning, and my thoughts have not changed. I have a little set of minis that I will swatch out for you, so do keep in mind that 2 of these 4 shades were never available in full size and are not available in full size, so actually I won't swatch those because there's no real point. But these are Baby Brute, which is kind of just a milky, almost clear type thing. And then Cake Shake, which is an ultra shimmery, like nude color. And then in the original colors, these are very much available. These are from the very first launch. Not these specific tubes, but you know what I mean. I have Fussy, the original, on this side. Fussy Heat is on top, and the original Fussy is on the bottom. They look almost the same, really, but this one has little glitters in it, and Fussy Heat does not. And finally, my all-time favorite one, the best one in the best formula. I know it's super basic, but the original Fenty Glow Gloss. The original Gloss Bomb in the shade Fenty Glow is my favorite. It's my favorite Fenty Beauty product. It's just that good. I'm a sucker for kind of a pinky nude, and I think it delivers that. The formula is comfortable, it's ultra shiny, it has just the right amount of pigment without being like a full-on, like you're committing to the pigment, like with the cream one. Whenever I'm wearing a lip look that I'm like, that's gonna rub off and I'm gonna need to reapply on the fly, usually I will just throw this in my purse and I will just reapply throughout the day, and it ends up looking like an actual lip look because it just looks so polished. So yeah, honestly, this is probably too old. I should just get a new one, but it still smells super sweet and fruity. It smells, kind of has like a candy smell. Like, it's kind of nostalgic almost. It kind of gives Lip Smackers. If you remember the Lip Smackers lip glosses, they kind of smell like that. So, Fenty glosses, absolutely my favorite. I actually still have shades of that on my wish list. It's an old classic. It really is. Old, reliable lip gloss formula for sure. So, with that being said, that is the end of this video. Those were my favorite products from 10 of my favorite high-end brands. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are your favorite products from these brands? Are there any other brands that you wanted to hear my favorite product from but I didn't mention in this video? But perhaps I could mention them in a part 2, so if you're interested, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video or you got something out of it, please hit like. And if you want to see more from me, please hit subscribe. I would absolutely love to have you. Until the next one, bye you guys.